your journey into senior football. What were you both like at school? Were you always sporty?
Yeah, I was always sporting. I love sport, but I think we're pretty I was quite academic as well. And I remember when I first joined Liverpool, like when I spoke to my parents, it was like you can do the football, but your grades cannot suffer. So it was very much school first for me for a long time.
Yeah, I think we probably actually had similar upbringings in that way. Like I was also very sporty, especially I think among the girls in my class. I think I was always playing with the boys and kind of wanting to tag along with my older brother. But yeah, also very academic, and my parents were always making sure that my homework was done first.
How did you kind of choose then to, given you were both academic, how did you choose then to stick with football?
Well, I think when I was growing up, it was like you had to do the school because there wasn't really a defined career path in football. So for me, I just loved playing football. I never really thought beyond school. It was just my academic was important because at that time there wasn't a career where you could have a job in football. And I think it was only the last few years when I was in school, when I was sort of in and around the Liverpool first team, that it was like still maybe. But then again, it was not really a given. And I went to uni straight after as well. So I've always had my academics alongside. That's just the way it is at the moment, I think.
Yeah. I mean, I think for me, I know that I have a life after football, and I think I was lucky in that I enjoyed school while I was there, and going to play football at university in the States. I think it was a good combination of being able to get my degree at university and still doing what I love, playing football. So I think for me it is a little bit of necessity, but also I just enjoyed school and kind of enjoyed that learning environment, and was lucky that I had the opportunity to do both at the same time.
Yeah, because that's something quite unique, particularly in the US, we touched on, is sport over there. Like it's massive at university, which is slightly different than what it'll be like in England. So I guess that'll be quite a unique thing then for you versus, say, Niamh, you were playing in Liverpool alongside university, so slightly different.
I think I went to a university where it was the most similar probably to the US, but still it's worlds away, where it was sort of full-time football alongside full-time uni, and I just missed all my classes. And there was no communication. It was like football, uni, and I was in the middle communicating between the two. Whereas I think when you look at the States, I'm not sure, but it's very
more integrated. Yeah.
And then when it comes to, I guess, senior football, what made you keep pursuing it? Because I know, like, especially in this country, it might be different over in Canada, but over here there's a drop-off, obviously, when you get older and you do focus on that academic side maybe a bit more. What made you just keep going?
I think, like I say, even now, like if I wasn't playing football professionally, I'd still be playing it and probably committing as much. Like I feel very grateful that I can train in the day and go home, whereas I think I would have a normal job and play in the evenings and travel. So I think it was something that was always going to be part of my life, and I think I was lucky enough to be in and around the Liverpool first team, where they were giving me opportunities to sort of start to show me like a pathway into full-time football. And I think I've never really looked too far ahead. It was just sort of for the next year, what does my year look like or whatever. And I've been very lucky that I've had good people around me to sort of help me as well.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I would say very similar. I think just like with Niamh, I feel like I had good people around me, good coaches around me, and I think I was lucky to be a part of the national program, kind of at the youth levels, and then with the full team quite early. And so I had coaches that were kind of helping me define my path and figure out what was in store for the next year. And I mean, I've enjoyed it, so it's not like I've stopped enjoying it. So yeah, I think that's kind of fueled it.
Because Jessie, didn't you make your debut at like 15 or something? Looking at the number of caps you have now for your age is just ridiculous. How do you remember that day, that first kind of debut?
I mean, I think it was very nerve-wracking. I think I had just played in like a tournament with the under 17s, and that was kind of my first real exposure with the national program. And I think John Herdman brought me into the national team, and yeah, I was kind of awestruck. I had all these players that I looked up to growing up and that were a lot older than me, and I think I was definitely out of my league. And had a lot to improve on. And I remember the camp was right around Christmas, so I was super homesick. But yeah, looking back, I think I just feel really lucky to have been brought in that environment and kind of been exposed to those people and that caliber of player at such a young age. I think I found it really like motivating and inspiring, and yeah, just been trying to emulate my teammates that I met back then ever since.
And Niamh, for you, obviously you're in the England setup now, and that journey through the youth tournaments. We were talking to Alessia recently about Jordan at the Under-17 World Cup and how much she sees that as kind of a key part of her development. What are your memories of that tournament and that kind of special group of players that have now come through with you?
I was in isolation when that interview came out, and I feel like when she answered all the questions, it was just Niamh this, Niamh that, and she called me scatty, she called me everything. And when I went on camp, I did sort of say to her, but like I feel really grateful for that period. So like they're just such special memories. I don't think you realise it at the time, but for a couple of years we were going away every few months to different countries, playing football together. And what was really great was all our parents got on so well that they're still just as close now as they were then. And like they had such a great time, and obviously we were very successful, and I think we had a really good team. And I think it's really nice now that we all gone our different paths, but the odd chance like at England where we cross paths, or like Tooney and Alessia have now gone to the same club. It's really nice that we've sort of grown up together, and it's when you're in the senior team to have people that you've grown up with, like it's very comforting as well, and I just think it's really special.
And from a domestic point of view, you both joined Chelsea around the same time, I think. What was it about the club that kind of drew you to sign?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of things. I think for me, I definitely have my sights set on England and coming to play in the WSL. I think just the caliber of player at Chelsea, I knew I wanted to come to a team where I was going to be challenged and I wasn't going to be one of the best players. And yeah, I think a lot of it came down to the players that we have. And I think something that's really cool about our team is that we have so many players from so many different countries. And so you get all these different styles of play, all these different strengths and different players, and people have grown up playing different systems. So I think that really excited me. Yeah, I think just like the challenge and the quality of players that we have was what really brought me here.
Sure.
Yeah, I was similar. Obviously, I was so different because I was at Liverpool and I'd been in the league for a while, and I think it just sort of got to that point where it timed well that was the last year of my degree at Liverpool. So I was sort of suddenly free, whereas before I'd been attached to Liverpool, obviously studying as well. And I just felt like it was the right time maybe to try something new and take the next step. And obviously, again, like the players that Chelsea had and the coaching staff and the whole culture that like I'd seen from the outside for quite a few years. Yeah, it was exciting.
You both, slightly differently, but you both kind of moved away from home then, Jessie slightly further. How was that kind of change for you guys?
I mean, I think for me, I've been living away from home for the most part since I was like 16. So I think I've definitely gotten used to it to some degree, just in terms of having to cook for myself. And yeah, I think certain things like that. I think it was definitely an adjustment living alone. I'd always had like roommates or other people in the apartment. And then I think also moving in a pandemic presented a different challenge. So I think I definitely had more time by myself last year, which I think was an adjustment, but I think I learned a lot. And yeah, I think it also helped that I was lucky enough to get to a country where they speak the same language as me, and didn't really have to adapt much there. But I think the girls here were super helpful, and yeah, I've made some good friends in my time here so far. And so yeah, I don't think it was actually too much of an adjustment, but there were certain things that took some getting used to.
Yeah,
sure.
I think I'd lived away from home for 3 years, but it was literally come from the world. I was living in Liverpool, so I was home all the time and whenever I wanted to. So even though I had lived out, it was a bit of a shock when I moved down here, and obviously we were in the pandemic, so it was very much right, see you later for like a long period of time to my family. And again, I'd been living with people before, so it was a shock to sort of have the whole house to myself. But I do think like I did learn a lot about myself last year, even this year, that just sort of, I guess it's just part of growing up. So it was a big adjustment to me that I couldn't just pop home whenever wanted to see my family or put a wash on or something, like I had to do it myself. But yeah, I've learned a lot.